Enzo. Oh, this is probably too long for a voice note.
Hey Claire, I know. Save it for the podcast.
Your space for an unfiltered and candid conversation.
Skip the small talk and dive in deep.
Hello, familia.
Hello.
Welcome to a new episode of Too Long for a Voice Note. Today, we're in a really special location. We're in Concrete Culture Studios, which were very kind to host us today for this special episode.
Yeah, so we're here in this lovely new location. Don't freak out if you see us in a new studio.
Yeah.
We'll be back in our regular studio soon. But today we are joined by a very special guest. So you have done so many things. I'm actually going to grab the laptop and read
Let's
your
just
bio.
read it. Yeah, let's get it right.
Possibly remember. Today we're talking to Dr. Aumatma, a double board certified naturopathic endocrinologist revolutionizing fertility care. So after witnessing countless couples trying to conceive through invasive and expensive treatments, she pioneered a functional approach that addresses the root cause. Outside of her clinic, she's trained hundreds of physicians, has a best-selling book, and is the host of her own podcast. Welcome to Too Long for a Voice Note.
Thanks for having me.
This is so exciting.
So exciting. We're live. I'm so excited.
We're going to cut the small talk and just get right into this very important topic. So I'd love to start by asking a big question, and that is, why do you think there's a crisis in fertility at the moment?
Oh, so many reasons, actually. I think that partly a lot of the conventional world will say, oh, it's because couples are waiting till later to start their families. So that is a standard idea that is floating around. I also think that the enormous amount of toxins that we're exposed to in our environment on a day-to-day basis has grown so much. And a lot of these toxins are reproductive toxins. So we already know that they can affect reproduction. We know that they can cause cancer. So it's not a surprise that fertility is in a crisis, but it seems like that crisis is growing bigger and bigger. So when I started in practice, it was 1 in 8 couples that were struggling with fertility, and they're usually talking about couples 18 to 35.
Oh.
So they're not
Quite
looking at couples older than 35.
Quite young, right?
Yeah. So 1 in 8, and then it's now shifted to 1 in 6. I think I heard 1 in 5 recently. That is, it's tragically growing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And then we see a similar kind of extreme decline in male fertility, actually, because men, it's relatively easy to test sperm. Yeah. So we've seen a decline in sperm in the last 70 years by about 70%. So
it's crazy numbers.
Yeah. So it's pretty wild.
So I imagine that's why you create your method, right? Like, can you tell us a bit more about it? Like, how everything started, like how is it about? So so it started because I found that one of the biggest things I noticed was people were being treated for infertility, which I don't think is actually supposed to be a diagnosis. It's more of a symptom, right? So there's a lot of underlying things that can be going on that contribute to why people struggle with fertility. So when I realized that, I said, well, if it's a symptom, then why aren't we looking at figuring out what the root is? Exactly, yeah.
So the first step of my method is reveal, which is let's uncover all the things that could potentially be going on. Remove is sort of like getting rid of the toxins. It's also getting rid of mindsets that aren't serving us, things like that. So we want to get rid of the potential blocks. And then we want to rebalance. And that's where we get into hormone rebalancing. We're looking at a lot of gut healing, lowering inflammation, figuring out blood sugar, sleep cycle, circadian rhythm, that kind of stuff. So we see a lot of the things that we've revealed, we are going to need to rebalance. And before we get into that, we want to make sure we remove all the blocks. And then
you need to create like a map almost. You need to map out a person from all the corners, right? To just get to the root of it. It's like quite impressive.
It's very interesting what you say, because infertility is not a diagnosis, like you said. So there's always going to be something. I mean, is that true though? Because I've heard of couples having, something called unexplained infertility. So what's your kind of approach to that? Would you say like, I call bullshit on that, and actually there is always a root cause of infertility? Or are there those cases where you would just say, kind of hold your hands up and say, I just don't know why this isn't working?
Oh, so unexplained infertility and recurrent pregnancy loss is our subspecialty. So within the field of fertility, that's most of what we see.
Okay.
And all the people that come in with unexplained are not unexplained. Yeah. There's just like no one has went deep enough to really figure out what's happening. Yeah. So yeah, I would say bullshit, pretty much. That's not a diagnosis.
Bullshit to that. It's really, really interesting. One thing, like you mentioned about like gut health, and I think over time I heard like how gut health is impacting so many parts of health, right? Like even like mental health. A lot of people with like heavy depression, actually they realize that changing their diet, it really helps them to get out of the episode of depression. So it's interesting to hear that could be also a reason why you have infertility, like honestly problems, right?
Yeah. So naturopathic medicine, what I learned in my very first year in naturopathic medical school was all disease, all dis-ease starts in the gut. So everything leads back to the gut. You can't really like separate that out. Yeah. And it's pretty amazing that a lot of fertility doctors will say, oh no, your diet has nothing to do with it. Well, if everything starts in the gut, then your diet definitely has something to do with it, right?
Yeah. It seems to be like so logical, but I feel like for the longest time, everyone is avoiding that. And maybe nowadays it's getting more like talked about. Yeah,
definitely. So interesting. Well, you have a TED Talk, which is amazing. So we watched some of it. We didn't want to do like a spoiler alert. So we just watched some of it to kind of research for your episode. But we also wanted to hear from you, firsthand. But I love how you talk about the body needing to feel safe in order to conceive. And you spoke a little bit about that just now with your method in terms of mindset. So can you tell us a little bit more about what you mean by the body needing to feel safe in order to conceive?
Yeah, it's what a lot of people relate that to. And even I've talked to quite a lot of people that have messaged me since doing that TED Talk. And people will say, oh, thank you so much for talking about this. I need to address stress in my life. And I'm like, you kind of missed the point. It's not just stress, right? Like stress is one part of it, but the idea of safety, like our nervous system needs to feel safe in order to conceive. And I was just hanging out with Dr. Josh Axe, who's a functional medicine doctor. And he was talking about the number one best thing that men can do for their partners on the fertility journey is help them feel like they're cuddled into a warm blanket with a cup of tea, right? And I love that visual because that's the level of safety that the woman needs to feel in order to feel safe enough to conceive. So anything that's throwing her out of balance, it could be a job, it could be mold in her house, it could be just her mental state, like she's go, do, doesn't like want to rest or doesn't feel like she can rest. All of those things are equally going to create an environment where her body says, not safe, can't get pregnant. This is not a good time.
It's kind of interesting because it's really hard, right? To that notion, I believe, because we live in such like a crazy life, especially if you live in a big city, right? You're always on the go. You're never nonstop. Yeah. So it's kind of like, well, the notion to kind of like find a place to feel like safe and like calm in the middle of all of that. It's like, wow, it's really interesting, right? It's really hard as well. Yeah. It makes sense why it's like it's so popular, and like as you mentioned before, all the numbers and statistics, it makes sense why it's getting more and more people having like going through this because
because
our lives are crazy nowadays.
We are living that lifestyle. We're in an environment that is creating that unsafe all the time, right? The toxins that are around us are creating this level of your body has to feel like it's going to fight something off.
Of course,
oh, I I have to like upregulate my liver to get rid of all these toxins that I'm being exposed to. So it's like a low level of constant something is happening.
Yeah.
And it could be multiples of little things that are all triggering this response.
Of course.
So we have to address all of it.
So what would you do if, you know, kind of, we'll get into more tips later, but kind of on this topic, because I just find this so fascinating. Because I've heard, is this true that the body will kind of, if you're trying to get pregnant, but there's something going on with the mother's body, kind of in the first 3 months, let's say, the body will choose the mother and not the baby. So kind of like the body will think like, let me protect. So if there's something off with the gut, for example, the body will be like, let's not maybe conceive because the body isn't kind of strong enough. So it will always prioritize the mother's health over the baby until a certain point where, I don't know, I kind of heard this somewhere from like an acupuncturist or something, that then, but then after a certain point, the body will prioritize the baby, which is sort of interesting. I don't know if there's any truth in that.
Well, it's interesting because there's also a shift in a physiological hormone that's made. It's called progesterone. That progesterone, the mom's body is making that progesterone for the first 10 to 11 weeks of life. And then it shifts to the baby making it. So that might be a key point at which the body converts to like, okay, now the baby's making its own progesterone.
That's so interesting.
The baby is like, I'm prioritizing me. Survival of the fittest.
Exactly, like, this is my time now. Like, you see yourself.
But yeah, going back to just some tips that you'd say, sort of if you know there was somebody watching or listening who's trying to conceive and they're thinking, you know, I live in London or I live in New York and it's all go, go, go and I don't have a minute and I have a really stressful job and I have all of these obligations, but I'm trying to conceive, but I want to work out as well and all of these things. What would you say and what tips would you give?
Yeah. So I think that what the first has to be the mindset piece. And it's really understanding that if you are doing these things against your body's natural rhythm, then you are forcing your body to do something that it's not wanting to do. For example, this is a very simple example. If we lived with our female rhythms, which is a 28-day cycle, every week of our cycle is different, right? So women are often entrenched in, I have to do the same thing every day. I have to go work out and then I eat my breakfast and then I do this and then I do this, right? And we have our schedule similar to men. Men have a 24-hour rhythm. So for them to have a schedule every day and stick to that schedule, perfect. For women, it's a little bit harder because your schedule is actually supposed to change every week. So if in your luteal phase, that's the phase after ovulation where your body is actually in protection mode for a potential pregnancy, if you are going to go and do your HIIT workout, that's actually the worst thing that you could do, right? So if we start with, okay, I get into the mindset of, I don't need a 24-hour clock. I need to be on a 28-day rhythm. And once I learn how to be in rhythm with where my hormones are, then I can actually do the things that are going to help support safety because I'm supporting the natural cycle that I'm in. Right?
Fascinating.
Interesting. It's kind of like cycle thinking, right? That's thinking.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so interesting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's one of my favorite modes. That will help support safety. Second, helping stabilize your blood sugar and your circadian rhythm helps support safety. Because if you're going to bed at the same time and waking up at the same time, and that rhythm is cycled with the sun, then when the sun goes down, you're winding down. When the sun goes up, you're waking up. That really helps reinforce, okay, I am safe because it's okay for me to sleep and wake up at the same time every day. If I'm running from a lion in the jungle, I'm not thinking about what time of the day it is. I'm just running. So that, and then the fact that you can have regular scheduled meals really helps support your blood sugar rhythm, But underneath that same idea, if you're running from a lion in the jungle, you're not thinking about food.
Yeah, of course.
So
Right.
true.
So if you have the time to be like, okay, at 9 a.m. I eat my breakfast every day, 12 p.m. I eat lunch, 6 p.m. I eat dinner, then you have put into a rhythm something that your body knows that it can rely and expect. And staying consistent with it helps reinforce safety.
Okay, wow.
So
Makes
basically
sense.
we use the hormones or endocrinology and the physiology to say, okay, what are the things that we can put into place that will help reinforce this idea that you are safe in the world.
Fascinating.
And you can still do some of the things that you want to do, right?
Yeah.
Women are like, oh, you're going to make me go live in a bubble and I won't get to do anything fun. It's like, no, you can have fun. You can still live your lifestyle. You just have to make enough shifts that your body says, oh, I'm safe.
Yeah.
And if you can get that safety, then you've succeeded.
I want to switch it a bit for our male listeners. I'm personally not interested on having kids in the future.
That's okay.
But I just find this really fascinating and interesting because, I have friends that they want to, or have I'm always very curious about this type of topics, of course. So, and I know a fact that for male fertility is something like non-existence in the mainstream. I never heard anything about the struggles that maybe some men go through fertility, or what can you tell us about it? How can we maybe help some men to navigate this topic, or even because maybe they don't even know they're going through something, or they need to even consider that, because it's always I feel like a weight that is put on the woman.
Yeah.
It's oh no, it's the one that it's her fault, or it's the one that needs to take care of it, or it's the one that needs to research. But I think, first it should be a 50-50 thing for sure. But also I think there's no there's no enough information, or there is no enough how you say the word
knowledge. I think
yeah.
it kind of feels like a taboo a little bit still, even though we've come so far in so many ways. I think when a woman perhaps is struggling to get pregnant, I think the first, like Enzo said, the first kind of point of, I don't want to say blame, but the first place that in traditional medicine, doctors sort of look, it's placed on the woman, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And it's a cultural thing, a social thing as well, right?
It's cultural, it's social, it's also medical, believe it or not. So many doctors, I feel will tell men, oh, your sperm are great, you're fine, you have nothing to do with this, let's focus on the woman.
Yeah.
And the reality is they're not actually interpreting even the basic sperm results from the point of optimal. They're just oh yeah, you're normal. It's fine. And I believe that some of that reasoning is, if you are going to do IVF, which is their assumption, then IVF kind of bypasses the need for good sperm. So they're like, well, we don't really care as long as you have some sperm.
Okay. Interesting.
But if you're not going to do IVF, if you're not ready to spend $100,000 on IVF treatments, then you're like, okay, well, what else can I do? And then it becomes really, really important what is happening on the male side.
Yeah.
So I think that I agree. I think the male equation is 50% of the equation, if not more. There's a lot of evidence that is becoming present that men's health, what's happening in the male body before conception, is actually going to determine the health of the future baby, the health of the embryo, and how the woman goes through that pregnancy. So whether or not she has nausea and vomiting, whether or not she has preeclampsia, gestational diabetes, so many of these things are going to be impacted by the partner's health.
Wow.
So
again, that's fascinating again.
So the least you can do is prep before you get her pregnant.
Oh my God, yeah. Have you seen any shift in this, maybe since you started to now, how maybe it's more talked about how men should approach their health, or how men should be more included in this conversation? I think that there are, thanks to TikTok, I think there are a few really beautiful videos that I've seen pop up that are
men talking about like, hey, did you know this and this and this? And that's great. But I don't think it's present enough still.
Yeah.
And what I really want to see happen is that men get tested sooner, because you're often going to your doctor. Your doctor is going to be like, yeah, he's fine. Let's just test you. Let's figure out what we're going to do. Let's get you to IVF. And I've seen so many couples where they've maybe had recurrent pregnancy loss. They have unexplained infertility. They've been through multiple rounds of IVF, and then they come see us, and I'm like, well, he's got blood sugar issues. He's got this and that.
There you go.
And they're like, wait, what? Why didn't my doctor test me for this?
Yeah.
And it just seems crazy to me that even though the research is there, it hasn't caught up to medicine yet, right? Yeah. So there's still a very big gap between what information people get from their doctor versus what is available with research and with the information that we have available.
Fascinating.
Absolutely crazy stuff, honestly.
Yeah, I have so many questions. My mind is like being blown. I've got 2 questions. I'm going to go, but I really want to talk more about IVF.
Yeah.
We haven't got that on our list, but I just think, that would be really interesting.
You mentioned, it's really interesting.
So many couples, I think, go through IVF. But the first thing I wanted to talk about was something that's actually quite personal to me. I have stage 4 endometriosis. I've had 2 laparoscopies. So I'd love to hear from your perspective, kind of combining naturopathic medicine and traditional medicine. What are your thoughts on endometriosis, kind of endometriosis and fertility? What would you say to somebody who comes into your clinic who is trying to conceive and has endometriosis? I know that there's lots of big questions there, but I know a lot of our audience also suffer from endometriosis. So if you could just talk a bit about that would be great.
So endometriosis is probably the toughest thing that we work with, especially when it's progressed to stage 3, stage 4. That's pretty severe endo. Yeah. And statistically, this is not to scare you at all, no. But statistically, endometriosis, 1 in 2 women with endo will struggle with fertility. So the connection between the two is pretty intense. Yeah. The way that we approach endometriosis is sort of like a cancer in the body, because it's these tumors that are growing, or cysts technically, right? So they're growing where they're not supposed to grow. The immune system is not actually like shutting it down. Yeah. So there is a very similar biology that's going on. So our approach with it is really to hit the immune function aspect, and then bring in supplements and nutrients that really support a lot of the cancer research side.
God, so interesting.
Yeah. So we have a pretty good success rate with endometriosis and fertility because we're hitting it from a very different angle. Yeah. And some of those women have gone on to do IVF after working with us because they still need support. Yeah. But they can go on and actually have a healthy pregnancy, which is amazing. Yeah. And then other women end up getting pregnant naturally before they finish their IVF, like before they even get into that process. So it's gone either way, but I think that really approaching it differently, because Western medicine doesn't have a solution. It's basically laparoscopic surgery as often as you need to do that. Yeah. And that's kind of not a great solution because it will keep coming back.
Absolutely.
So what can we do to support in a way that at least like takes it down a few notches, not as intense? I like the most severe case, and I've only had one like extreme case, and she had stage 4 endo with like 15 out of 10 pain.
Oh gosh. Okay.
For most of her like menstrual life.
Okay.
And her pain would last like 10 days. It's like 10 days out of every cycle is a lot of pain. Yeah. And I didn't keep up with her after we referred her to IVF, but up until that point, her pain went down to like a 6 out of 10, which is still a lot of pain for most people. But she was like, this is great.
Yeah,
my
absolutely.
God.
The walk in the park based on what I used to go through.
Yeah, that's so
good. And being able to like, not just the pain, but really knowing that we've addressed the inflammation, the immune system, all the different aspects of it.
Yeah.
That's really our goal, right? And a lot of other women have no pain, no symptoms.
Absolutely.
And we often will be like, oh, I don't know, we suspect endo for you. Like, you need to go get tested.
Yeah.
And we will continue to encourage them till they do the testing, because they often are like, well, I don't want to know if I have endo. And I'm like, well, it's going to make a difference if you have it or not.
Absolutely.
Of course,
right? Like, we can give you all of the supplements without knowing, but that's a lot of supplements to take if you don't know that you have it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think I found, definitely I've always kind of leaned more towards kind of Eastern medicine and away from Western medicine because of my journey with endometriosis, where, you know, like, I think it was 1 in 10 now. They're saying it's 1 in 7 women in the UK alone have endometriosis. And to me, you know, that there is no cure, and that the only cure is a very invasive surgery or throwing you on the pill is just not a solution. So I personally have found a lot of relief through acupuncture, through an anti-inflammatory diet, through kind of exercising to try to stress less, even though I think that's my kryptonite is like trying to like calm down and do less. But that's so interesting. And like, I'm sure that will give a lot of people a lot of hope if, you know, they're listening, they want to go on a conception journey. And it sounds like working with you, and that if somebody has endometriosis and then they work with you and then they do need to go on to have IVF, it sounds like they're getting better results through that IVF. Yeah, we've had people that went through 3 to 6 cycles before they come to us, do our process, and then go back to IVF and are pregnant. Amazing. Right? So it's like, well, and I've talked to some of the reproductive endocrinologists who will say, oh no, that was our IVF treatment. I was like, well, they already did 6 cycles with you, so I don't think it was your treatment. And they're like, oh no, it worked this time. I'm like, yes, I know it worked this time. It might have been something they did in the middle. Of course, something about all the changes that they've made. But on IVF, I guess, what are your thoughts on IVF, kind of in a nutshell? Is it your sort of the last thing that you would want to try, or would you say kind of go for it? Or how long would somebody have to be on their fertility journey, in your opinion, to kind of go for IVF? Because I know that, you know, they say here in the UK, like, if you're under 35 and you've been trying for a year, then you should go for kind of further tests. And then I guess the theory is that you move exactly. So what do you think about IVF in general?
So I have mixed opinions about it. I think it's an amazing technology, and I think it's incredible that we have it, right? Like, I would not want to get rid of it. But I do think that there is a lot missing, in the sense that, and I've talked to a lot of reproductive endocrinologists who say, oh no, our first cycle is just an experiment. It's basically a test. Right. We don't ever expect it to work. And I'm like, oh, wow, okay. You don't expect a whole $20,000 cycle to work? Yeah. And they're like, oh no, we just have to figure out what level of hormones we have to give and this and that. And I'm like, wow, that sounds really like not a great approach to spend that much money. Here in the UK, you guys have the NHS, and sometimes it'll pay for it. But even then, it's still like not a great solution, and not a guaranteed solution, as much as people would like to believe, right? Totally, a lot of people are like, whenever I need it, I'm just going to go into IVF. And they're like, oh, whoops, that didn't work. And then before they know it, they're going through cycle after cycle, and it hasn't worked. So my approach with it is, if you think that you need IVF, first you want to figure out why your fertility isn't happening on its own. And I think that there's always a why. I jokingly say to couples, like, I'm still waiting for a couple that doesn't have an answer, right? Like, I've tested like probably 1,700 couples.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, there is not ever. Like I have yet to find someone who doesn't have a clear why.
Right. Yeah.
And if we can't find the why, then okay, I concede. I'm like, okay, you probably should do IVF. You got me. Don't know this one. But I'm still waiting. I'm still like, okay, well, we'll test you and then we'll see. So I have a lot of faith in testing and assessing and being able to really understand the why. And so like what I've been doing for the last 3 years has been to take all of the knowledge that I've gained from testing people and transfer it into technology that doesn't need that level of testing. So that we can say, okay, instead of spending $2,000 on testing, let's get to figure out like what could be happening and start addressing those things before you even get to that year mark, right? Like why wait a year of going through something that you're like, well, it's not working. It's still not working. It's still not working. And to have a woman like go through that roller coaster for 12 months is really intense. Like I luckily, knock on wood, I didn't have to go through that. But like I've coached so many people through that process and they're like distraught because, hey, I'm doing this. It's not working. It's not happening. How long do I wait? The anxiety, the kind of like sadness, grief, shame, like all the emotions that come up. We can avoid all of that by simply saying, let's figure out what's happening. Let's start addressing the things that are going on. And then if you still need IVF, cool, let's do the IVF. But let's not wait. So my hope is really to get to all of those women that are in that like, and not just women, men too, to figure out like, what are the things that could be happening for you? Let's address them sooner. And then you're no longer waiting for 6 to 12 months. You're actively doing something. And maybe by that point, you'll be pregnant already. And if still not pregnant, you can say, okay, well, this has gotten me a little bit better, but I still need more support. Or I'm good. I'm going to go do IVF now. You have that choice, but you've at least addressed so much of what's happening under the surface.
I want to ask you, like, do you often see like LGBTQ plus families that you have a lot of clients or like maybe like trans individuals that come to you? How like it's for them, because it's really difficult for example, for trans women, like in different corners. But I think fertility must be like a really like or like a struggling topic, and especially like nowadays in this like I guess cultural and social climate, it could be even more complicated. But what's your experience with that, and how it's been like if you have any journey or any like patients like
so I have a few LGBTQ clients. Most of them are same-sex women, and they will often say, well, I'm the one carrying and she's not going to be involved in anything, so why does she need to go through this process, right? And I'm like, well, you both are going to be involved in raising this child, so you both go through this process.
Of course,
And some of them have declined and said, well, I don't want to, she doesn't want to have to do that. And I'm like, well, then you're not a good fit for us.
Exactly.
But the ones that have gone through that and want to address it, that's a really beautiful thing. And my favorite couple was 2 women and then a known donor who was also part of their process.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
And it was like so much of their struggle was actually with his sperm. And I was like, so if you were going to use this donor, he's going to need to do some work.
Of course,
and they were like, oh.
It adds like a new element to the equation, right? Like, that's so interesting.
So he went through the entire journey with them.
That's kind of sweet.
It was just like so sweet.
I found it really sweet.
And I believe they were in California, if I remember correctly, and he's in Washington, D.C.
Oh, wow.
So they were like, we have to ship the sperm and like have it work when they ship.
We're kind of like a family of three for a while, right? Like the three of them working together to make it happen.
Yeah.
It's
and
like
I really do think that the child that's coming through is coming through to the couple. It's not just my child, right?
Totally, of
so
course.
it's so important. Like even from that aspect, that couple, they were just so beautiful. The partner was also very involved, and she actually had an autoimmune condition that she got support with through the process, which has nothing to do with fertility, right? Like,
that's so interesting.
But like, if you're going to be a healthy family, then you're both going to be healthy humans raising this child. So it's part of the journey.
Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about something that I know that a lot of our audience, especially our female audience, will be thinking about. I certainly am thinking about this because I'm turning 35 in November. And that is about the biological blooming ticking clock. So I would love to just hear your thoughts on that, because I feel like it's so unfair for women. We're really brought up with this all the time. You're always told kind of like, once you're 35, exactly, like it's your eggs are gonna like go out of date and like that's it. But then you're also trying to build your career as well. And you know, for example, with myself, like I met my boyfriend when I was 31. So obviously you need time to like build up your relationship and et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, what do you think about that? Is it complete rubbish? Like, what do you think about this ticking clock thing?
It's my favorite question of all, because it's actually what brought me into the fertility journey.
Interesting.
I was in my early 30s, married to this man who wanted to have children, and my uterus was literally like, no!
Not happening right now.
Oh, crap! Married the wrong one! And literally went into a tailspin, because the only thing I remembered from medical school was that fertility drops off of a cliff at 35.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, oh, I better get on this. What am I doing? What do I need to do? How do I like preserve my fertility? Obviously, like, you met my child. So I had a child with the right person eventually, but it really got to me that I needed to figure out what was true. And when I started doing all the research, I traced this idea that we have in our culture of 35 being the cutoff for women to 1800s France.
Wow.
Of course.
Which
from like something like 200 years ago or something.
Totally random.
Of course.
1800s France.
Oh, God.
Not science. This is not backed by science at all. I don't understand why all of fertility stands on this myth.
Okay.
And I call it a myth on purpose. Because they have records from 1800s in these churches that women were not coming to get their children baptized after the age of 35.
Oh, wow. And that's where everything started. That's like so absurd. Why?
So I was like, okay, if that's true, what was life expectancy for women in the 1800s?
Exactly.
Sounds like it probably wasn't that high.
Yeah.
So, and sure enough, 32.8 is the average life expectancy for women in 1800s.
So of course, So
and a lot of them were dying in childbirth. So yes, they weren't coming to get their children baptized if they were dying.
It's crazy.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, is there any research on this whatsoever? And there are maybe 3 like very small studies that have been trying to assess whether this idea is actually true. And what they have found is that when they compare the 25 to 29 age group of women to the 35 to 39 age group of like normally healthy women, what they find is that there's a 3% decline in fertility between those two age groups.
Only 3%.
3%.
Okay, this is
3%. I was like,
crazy.
I'll take that all day long. 3%. I'm not worried about it.
That's honestly crazy.
I can totally adapt for 3%.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think that one, I think it's a really big myth.
Yeah.
I will say that there is some decline, right? So we can't totally ignore it.
Yeah.
But what I came to with all of that for myself was that what is likely happening is the impact of our lifestyle on our age. So meaning like when we're in our 20s, we've had less stress exposure, we've had less toxin exposure, we've been on the planet less.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? We're more naive. We're like everything's even our mindset is less
different.
less
true. Heavily charged
yeah.
by life.
Yeah. And then when you get into your 30s, you start to become more concrete in your mindset. You've been exposed to toxins longer. You've been living in your body longer, exposed to inflammation longer, living your diet and lifestyle longer. Definitely had way more fun by that point. So all of those things are going to have an impact on your fertility. So if I were in my 20s saying, hey, I don't want to have children till later, I would assess and figure out where am I now? Let's just get a realistic perspective and let's keep checking in on it every few years. Maybe every other year I check on how are my eggs in my ovaries? How many eggs do I have left? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And simultaneously create a lifestyle that supports fertility for as long as I need to be able to have children later in life.
Makes sense. Yeah.
And I think it's totally doable.
Okay. So interesting. Yeah, no, that's so good to hear. I think a lot of people listening will be really reassured about that, because we've got a lot of friends who are kind of in their late 30s and who maybe want to still have children. So it sounds like the key is kind of supporting your fertility. And I guess kind of just to finish on the episode, what are your top tips for supporting fertility? Or kind of if you had a couple and they came to see you and they said, like, we want to conceive, it's taken a bit of time, kind of what would you say immediately to look at? Yeah.
So I think I'll say a few things. One is that let's just go through step by step. So the first one, get rid of the toxins in your environment. There's no reason we need toxins, right? Like they're not doing anything for any of us. The big ones are for fertility. The big ones are plastic.
Okay.
So BPA, BPS, BPF, all of those. The less plastic we use, the better. And the other big one are phthalates. Those are all of the things that are in fragrances. So anything that has a fragrance probably has phthalates in it. It's sometimes disguised as natural perfumes or natural oils. All of those words that sound like it's natural, it's actually not. So getting rid of those. And then the last one is the trickiest one, which is glyphosate. And glyphosate is basically Roundup. It's a pesticide that's sprayed on a lot of plants. We get it sprayed on food. So non-organic food is going to have a lot of glyphosate. But for women, switching out of pads and tampons will lower our glyphosate exposure because cotton is the second most sprayed plant, right?
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
So if we can get rid of the toxins, and I'm happy to give your listeners a guidebook to get rid of toxins.
Thank you so much.
You're amazing.
We'll link that in the episode, guys. So check that out. Thank you.
Yeah, because I feel like everyone should have access to this. Why not?
That's amazing.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So yes. So that I think the toxin exposure is really low hanging fruit. The second one is making sure that we're eating good food, right? So getting rid of foods that are inflammatory, which can vary from person to person. It's not always all the same, but really figuring out like what's working for you, what's not working for you, or getting a test, or just lowering even the big inflammatory foods is fine. And the big ones are wheat or gluten, dairy, soy. And then the third thing that I would do if I could is have everyone sleep, like get really good quality sleep. And with that, we want to really ensure that we're getting restful sleep. You wake up in the morning rested, and the melatonin that your body produces at night is like the most amazing, nourishing thing for your ovaries and testes. So without it, we're not making all the hormones that we need. So melatonin is actually the kicker, right? Like that's the most important hormone in our body, probably.
Interesting.
So if we can support our circadian rhythm optimally, which means you try to go to bed before 10 o'clock, wake up before 6 or 7, right? Varying based on the time of the year, sunrise, sunset, all of those things. But that's kind of the general guideline, and you're getting about 8 hours. You wake up feeling rested. Then you're doing the most that you can for your fertility.
Just for a listener, if someone wants to like go through this journey with you, what's the step? They go to your website, they go to your email. Like, what's the like? How do we find you? How we start the journey with you?
The best way, they probably want to go to my Instagram at Holistic Fertility Doctor. Feel free to chat me on there. Or you can go to my website, which is holisticfertilityinstitute.com. And then if we want to, the other resource that I was talking about where they can do the analysis and figure out what's happening for them, that is madrefertility.com. And that's a free resource. Like,
Amazing. Yeah, we're going to put all the links down on the episode.
Lots of
links. I'm gonna share it also like on Instagram, so it's really good.
Well, thank you so much.
So
it's been such a lovely conversation.
I feel like
honestly.
I can keep talking about this for way longer because I find this so interesting. Like maybe we can do like a part 2 and I don't know, in a couple next year, you know.
Definitely, whenever you're back in London,
can come over and
come over to you.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, we can do part 2 in America. If you find this episode interesting, or you know someone that might find this conversation really useful, please share it with them. And thank you for support. Like, make sure to follow our socials, Doctor's social as well, that we're gonna put down here. And thank you so much.
Like, subscribe, share, and
all of the things.
See you on the next one.
See you next one, familia.
Bye,
Bye.
familia.
See ya.